This is Papa Harrison I'm an extraordinaire. I move in the creative field and also in printing, branding, and also my hobbies. I have a creative development company. In the line of work, also did some styling. So I've styled artists like from Gemini to Vic Mensa to Bisakede. I mean, the list goes on and on. But I am mentioning this because we are working in a fashion house or a fashion retail business. It's most important that we understand the idea of styling also. So this helps with composition when we are doing photo shoots. My perspective of life is everybody is an artist. Day in, day out, there's an expression of art in whatever we do. So in your clothing, the way you express yourself, yeah, you have the color in you, you have the black, it's an expression of your emotions in you. Until you touch a certain spot, you won't be able to realize that yes, you have these things in you. Understanding what content creation is, you need to understand why it's important for content creation. It's also to inform or educate, to inspire or to entertain, to build trust and credibility in your brand. So everything you need to start with an idea. A mood board is a board where you either derive inspiration from or you build inspiration on. You have an idea to market a shoe like this. Let's say we'll look out for brands like Dior, H&M, and some other brands. Let's look at what they did with a color palette like this. What did they style it with? Some tips to help you create great content. You need to be very authentic. People say great artists steal. Where does the inspiration come from? It comes from people who are already doing it. So maybe let's say we are here and then we've exhausted everything that has to do with our ideation and stuff like that. What do? We just go online, we just type brown bag, then it gives you different types of brown bags and how these brands have been able, so it now brings you back to the mood board. So now your authenticity is in the idea that okay, once you picked up what an iPad is and a bag for an iPad, what differentiates you from anybody who is in the Western market? The fact that you've been taxed to make a certain post or market something. You need to think like your consumer. If I'm here and I'm saying that, oh, okay, we need to sell this table. You need to also think like the person who is buying it. Why do I need this table? I understand what you are selling, and I think it's a necessity to have it at this particular time. There are a few things that I'll just want to run through and then just to get your idea of what it is. Our smartphones give us the perspective where open our phone and then we can capture images without knowing the basics of how an image is taken. When you look at a professional camera, now there's the ISO, there's the aperture, and there's the shutter. Every camera has this. How does the camera operate? Now with the ISO, it refers to the sensitivity of the camera to light. Higher the number of the ISO, the more the sensor opens up to light. Yeah, it gives you a manual mode. So the ISO is what is here. So that's the sensitivity of the eye of the camera. This lens can be interchanged to any type of lens. 50 millimeters from here, you get the sharpest of images. Two types of lenses. There's focus lens and then also the prime lens, the aperture. Now this refers to the opening of the eye of the camera. The shutter speed. This refers to how fast the camera can close and open its eye. So now it's recording in 1/, so it's a half of a second. Trying to capture something that is moving fast. What is the shutter speed I'm going to work with? A bag like that. And you need a model to run with it. How do you take a picture to have the clearest of the bag and also the motion? To manipulate the camera at a point where it can capture static images but still give you the idea of motion, shadows, mid-tones, and then the highlights. If we are to use him as an example, looking at his face, eventually this is the dark side because this is the light source that's coming. So now the midpoint, the mid-tones, is the space between the highlights and then your shadows. We come down to composition. When you are taking an image or when you're on set, so this is your background, we are in an age where we are not only doing 16:9 ratio, aspect ratio, we are doing 9:16. If you are shooting 16:9, it's very important that you place your subject within the middle part of this grid. Once you flip it like this and then you crop your image, your subject is still within that. Thinking about headroom and legroom, now we have whoever you're putting in your image. You need to make sure that the person's head is slightly above the midsection. And it's very awkward if you are watching a video and the person's head is almost at the end of the frame. We need to understand the rule of thirds. Helps us place our subject in vantage points that boosts the creative aspect of what we are trying to achieve. The concept of colors: 60, 30, and 10 rule. 60 refers to the dominant color. So now in this, what can we say the dominant color is? The army green. Very perfect. The 30 in it also is the sandy color in it. And now the 10 rule is the little dark spots that we see. Dominant, secondary, and accent. A photo shoot for this show. Based on the 60, 30, 10 rule, this has to be the dominant color because this is what we are selling. We'll need to look at colors that don't fight with this. What is so dominant here? What steals your attention is the burgundy. Imagine I place this on a red background. We are about to shoot. I don't need to be stressful about, oh, what will be my background? What will be this? What will be that? This is my dominant color. Now I need a secondary color. What's the secondary color? White. Then I just need something to be an accent color just to aesthetically please. Then I can have a bit of maybe like a little leaf. The story is more appealing once you use the right colors. Imagine you are trying to sell food and all your colors are very dull. The last part of everything is light. Once we get to understand the purpose of light in each composition, we can be able to achieve the creative desired thing we want. Once we are in a space and we are trying to achieve some desired effect, the type of lighting is very important. So this is our key light, which has been diffused. When you say something has been diffused, if this is a light source and it's so bright, it gives you a very harsh feel to your midtones or your skin. Photographers move with big umbrellas. They diffuse the light to make it softer. So if we are building a set, this is our key light. That spills light all over. A bedside lamp, that is yellow at the side. And that gives like a contrasting effect to it. So that's the mood light. It sets the mood. An emotional scene gives off very warm feels to it.
Okay, so Harrison, I would like to ask. I think you went a bit very technical. Now, when you look at the things we have, like what's like a setup that would fit into it, because it's a lot, and we may not have the opportunity to maybe do serious shoots for everything. Can we have a setup that kind of like fits everything, and then can you maybe take us through a few of how some of these things can be shot?
There's the editorial, there's the influencer aspect, and also there's the off-site shoots. So you might have an editorial picture of this. So mostly an editorial is just to give you plain background with your objects. So it's very important that we have a set that might be 3 colored backdrops. In Photoshop, I can make this yellow, which is very easy. If we are doing photo shoots for product, we either have, once it shoots, then that's it. You have a very good image. The world is our background. We take it out. Maybe there are some beach-inspired floral pattern stuff. You take it to the beach. The sand is your background. Place it on the sand. You can just take it from the top, maybe add one pop-up color somewhere, or maybe you can just enter into the bush. Yeah, have some greens in the background, have some browns. Understanding the 60, 30, 10, if I have green and browns, I can put a very loud color shoe or bag there. So now once I take the image and I pop up the colors in there, it won't fight with the background, but the background would actually be a foreground to it for this to shine. I feel it's best that we explore not necessarily the studio, because if it's just a studio, you would be very, very limited. Yes. Once you place them within these 3 categories, it's very important that you do editorial. You also want to sell a complete look. For summer, you don't look out for gold or stuff like that. Yeah. It can even move with pearls, beads, maybe a little bit of leather, I mean, something just to move in those color patterns.
We were talking about we having the headlight light, the key light, and then having some other light that is somewhere. I was just thinking, what are some of the, because most of the times when my team are just capturing pictures, you realize that we do have shadows either behind it or the side, and we try to put in extra light that can take off those shadows, but realize that it looks like the light that we put at the sides are rather interfering in the thing. So perhaps if you are able to take us through, we'll take you to the small place that we have, so that maybe you can teach us the proper way in which we can position our lights so that we can get better pictures. Because a lot of our things, we do postings, we try to put it out there for people to see what we are really doing. And some of the pictures, we wish we would have done it better. You understand? So we just want to see how best you can help us to
understanding composition. If I'm to place this here, light angles. That's how come now buying the type of lights is very important. We have head-on flash. What would be our diffuser with this head-on flash? Is the ceiling. Very, very best ceiling will be a white ceiling, because white disperses light. You understand? But with a brown like this, it will suck it in. I think maybe we can go now.
We would want to know that your experiences, if there are other lights that we need to get, so that we can have a better thing.
When you are trying to create, room lights kills the whole set. Now the concept of shadows, midtones, and this. So now you know that this is where our shadows start. This is where our dying light is. You can take it, yeah, so that somebody can just hold it. Yeah. We have solved this part. So the last part will be the moon. So let's try the moon there. We've eliminated a lot of directly on the shoe. You're not seeing any shadows. So that's why your composition and your cropping, you have that in mind. Because when I look into the camera, I'm seeing the grid. See, to some extent, I'm controlling. We can just shape it with a low exposure or overly exposed. I can select this and then iron out the background. Continuous lights are mostly for video.
The plain background taking pictures here sometimes is good, but so maybe it's become boring and maybe one way. So we wanted to do like something more lively and then maybe have like a shelf kind of thing. Maybe have those Vogue magazine kind of hardcover form, maybe a little flower pot, maybe some jewelry stand there, and then maybe whilst we are doing video of something, that is also kind of popping in.
Every entity or every brand needs the editorial. Once it's set up right, once anything comes, you just place it on, you take, you go. Somebody might see a video with some things, they'll be like, oh, this is from this place. It helps with brand identity. But those things need to have a lot of thought process that will go into it, because it could get boring. It can just be a stack of boxes, then you place it on it, a shorts for a lady. It can even be on wood with some yellow flower petals somewhere. You can always explore. This might not really matter. We can look at the floor, get 4x4 wood, whatever, or cardboard that has different colors. Let the lights be head on. So even if with this we are shaping the line like this and we are taking a photo like this, it helps, you understand, rather than always being this way. So you can experiment with this. You can also experiment with the one down here.
We're having some other staffs to be on board, and we look forward that maybe in future we're going to invite you for you to come in. Perhaps if there are more things that we need to learn as a team, together we'll get to know if we have other things that we can ask for you to just give us more insight into them. as to how we can do it better. We're very grateful. So maybe unless you have something else that you would like to let us know, maybe there are one or two things that you want to chip in.
I think I've really exhausted a lot. I think what's most important is that once you understand the basics, you just experiment. Yeah, we are walking around, you see a nice wall, you can just hold a bag, and take a picture, edit it, manipulate it. Just don't hold back to create. If you are not finding, maybe if you have been tasked to produce 10 pictures of 10 products, just don't sit down. Just keep scrolling, keep scrolling. You always find something that is almost the same as what you have in your space, and you work with that. Once you're idle, you don't get work done.